I've generated millions for the most boring brands you could think of. Brands that sell data center space, netcode solutions, and humidification equipment. Making profitable outbound campaigns has nothing to do with the brands themselves. It has everything to do with how the human brain works. Every click, every reply, every sales call is driven by psychological triggers that happen within the first few seconds of them reading an email. Once you understand those triggers, you can almost make any offer do well via outbound. Today, we'll walk through the 4 psychological principles I use to generate over $726,000 and help a brand get acquired. And it all starts with one simple way to hack your prospect's brain. When you open a cold email, you decide in seconds, what's in it for me? Why me? Why now? And should I trust you? Giving something useful before asking for anything answers the first question immediately. Psychologists call it reciprocity, a debt you never agreed to. And in 1971, Dennis Reagan proved it at Cornell by having a Confederate buy fellow test subjects a 10-cent Coke mid-experiment. Those subjects later bought twice as many raffle tickets off him, whether they liked him or not. A standard cold email asks for a call, 15 minutes, or a demo before earning any of your time. When I started working with Coherence, a netcode platform for Unity developers, founder-led sales had hit a ceiling, and their buyers didn't exist in any B2B database. Apollo, Sales Navigator, and ZoomInfo don't surface the people who greenlight software at a game studio. Jonathan and I stopped pitching the product and offered developers a free multiplayer build-out, a prototype. When we learned publishers often control the budget, we added a hidden gold audit that found single-player games in their catalog suited to multiplayer. That second offer helped us work through multi-$100,000 sales cycles. Sent cold, the offer pulled a 14% reply rate against an industry baseline of 1 to 3. The offer line was plain: we'll build your multiplayer prototype free. The personalization came in the opener, which I'll show you in Principle 3. 18 months later, the company was acquired, with outbound as the primary growth driver. We kept the product and changed the first offer. You see, the free prototype got attention, but qualification kept the offer from filling the engineering queue with studios that were only curious. Giving things away can bury you. Saying yes costs nothing, but every tire kicker costs real engineering hours. The fix is a gate you say out loud. Psychologists call this scarcity. I call it the fighter pilot effect because not everyone gets to be one, and that's why everyone wants to be one. In 1975, Stephen Marshall asked people to rate the same cookie from jars holding 10 cookies or 2. Turned out the emptier the jar, the better the rating. For our offer, free needed a qualification step. We added a simple one-liner to the offer for everyone who replied. Transparently, before we do these, we check whether multiplayer is a hidden gold mine for your game first. Is it profitable? Is it worth the time? We rejected studios when multiplayer wasn't a fit. That made the qualification real. We kept the offer and I had a way to say no. But that only really solves for why you and why now. The next principle is how you win their trust. Marketers call this social proof. Psychologists study it as conformity. We use other people's behavior as information and sometimes agree with the group simply because standing apart is uncomfortable. Solomon Asch tested that second kind in the 1950s. After a room full of actors chose the wrong line out loud, 3 out of 4 subjects agreed with them at least once. In the game industry, studios know the same games and watch the same competitors. It's a tight-knit circle where the work of competitors is celebrated. We use 2 kinds of proof in these campaigns. First, the emails named appear in a game the reader would recognize, like the one we did for Vampire Survivors. Second, instead of sending a case study PDF, we hosted a teardown near the industry's events and invited other studios to watch it, or a real person showing up at a real event with you. The invite opened with, was professionally stalking you guys and figured you might be attending GDC. Our CEO is hosting a private demo of the multiplayer we built for Ponkel at a hotel near the show. Thought you might like to join us considering your building game name. Let me know either way. The offer stayed the same. The opener named the event and the peer. The events also gave us a reason to contact old leads again for re-engagement campaigns. Instead of just checking in, we could ask if they wanted a seat at a closed session next month, and it had limited slots. Anyone who had accepted chose to watch the case study for 40 minutes. We kept the product, added proof from studios that they would recognize, and even with that proof, some studios still stalled out after the first call, and their explanations were inconsistent. Studios gave us polite reasons such as budget, timing, or, come back next quarter. None wrote the actual blocker in a reply. We found it because studios liked the prototype, took the call, then repeatedly went quiet after the first conversation. We called that stall the hidden veto. Ours turned out to be the publisher studios. They were quietly worried their publisher wouldn't greenlight multiplayer at all. And since it wasn't their call to make, admitting that to a stranger is not a comfortable email to write or conversation to have. We aimed the second offer at publishers directly. That's why we created the Hidden Gold Audit from Principle 1, and it helped unlock an entirely new pipeline following the exact same rules that had worked on developers. Using those 4 principles, we reached more than half the market and met with Treyarch, Sega, Sumo Digital, and publishers like 2K Games and Tencent. Their BD manager said, completely transformed how we did sales and outreach. We learned a hell of a lot, made a lot of progress, and got some great customers. Over 50% of their market booked, 726,000 plus in revenue, and the outbound engine was the primary growth driver when the company was acquired. There was no database covering that market. The 14% reply rate came from custom scraping, free prototypes, and even pulling the names of individuals from the game credits that they made. The event meetings came from showing studios work we had already done for games they knew. We studied the market, then gave qualified studios something expensive to produce. Learn the industry, give qualified companies useful work before asking for a sale if your ticket size is high, and show the results through customers they recognize. Very important. That's how we built Outbound for a market that doesn't exist in the usual databases. Now, here's the thing. You still need to know what the market cares about and who makes the decision. The video on screen, Build Your Own Go-to-Market Signals with Cloud Code, shows you how to find those signals before you send anything.